Okay, good morning, everybody. We'll just give it a few minutes to wait for everyone to log on. While you're logging on, feel free to drop in the chat where you're logging in from. I'm in Boise, Idaho. I know Jennifer is in Colorado today on another recruitment trip. You just got back from Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Uh,
In
how's
Oklahoma next week.
Oklahoma next week? Love it. If you're just joining us, I just asked everyone to kind of let us know where you're logging in from in the chat. I'm in Boise, Idaho. We have Jennifer in Colorado. And we'll get going here soon.
I hope you guys are someplace warm.
I woke up to a snowstorm.
Oh,
I
really?
wouldn't say a
Well,
storm, but maybe like a flurry.
yeah, I don't snow. I don't do that well, even if I don't live in Colorado. I'm just here visiting for work. We're here to hire all
Yeah.
the kids, hire all the students, and
Yeah.
sometimes professors. I've noticed sometimes when we come in and we've hired a couple of professors as well. They're like, that
That's
sounds like that'd
amazing.
be a good gig.
Yeah. I saw that the chat was disabled, but luckily we have Callum in the background helping us on the marketing team. So he should be able to chime in. I see a lot of answers coming in. Um, I saw somebody say Chicago. Chicago's my favorite city ever. I always get mixed reviews
Oh,
when
I
I tell
love
people that.
Chicago. I
I
love
love
it's my
Chicago.
favorite large city.
Yeah. We have a lot of East Coasters. I see Charlotte, Cincinnati, Raleigh. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm in Boise, Idaho, if you just got here. And I think we're about to kick us off. So Jennifer, she was just in Puerto Rico for another recruitment trip. Um,
It was a hard
so we
one.
have
Nobody
to,
wanted to go at all.
nobody wanted to go. So we wanted to, kick us off really, Jennifer, and just share with us maybe, what's the favorite place you've ever gone to for a recruitment event?
Um, That's a hard one. I mean, Puerto Rico was really cool because it was just different. Like we do almost all of our recruiting in the States. So Puerto Rico was kind of cool because, it is a territory, but we own 42 Telemundos. So and they have a bunch of native Spanish speakers who are also American citizens. So we went there for that. So that was a fun one. I do love going to Chicago. Northwestern's one of my favorite schools to recruit from. And then my third favorite is whenever I get to go home to Alabama, and I'll go to my where I went to college, which is Troy University. I'll go to Troy, and I get to help those students. And what's makes that so exceptionally wonderful is that most of the people running the journalism programs there now are people I was in college with. 5 years ago. Yeah, it was 5 years ago. Uh, so it's like stepping back in time again to that. So I mean, those are like I love them. I love those for different reasons. I love the big city and the vibrancy and all of that. But there's something so special being able to go home and help these young students who were so much like I was years ago.
Yeah, I think when you're passionate about what you do, what do they say? You never work a day in your life. So that shines through for you.
Yeah, I always tell people that, you know what, I do I definitely they pay me to do the unfun stuff. But I do the journalism aspect and recruiting people aspect of my job for free. They pay me to do spreadsheets and reports and all of that.
Totally. It looks like Mike in the chat is a big fan of Troy and Auburn.
Yeah, go Trojans. And too, I was raised an Auburn fan. I was the only one
Oh
in my
my God.
extended family that didn't, and my husband is a huge Auburn fan. So
What are the odds? Small community here.
yeah.
You've already have something in common. Um, but just before we get going, thanks everybody for joining. Some quick housekeeping. I have Christina and Callum on my team in the background, just in case we have any technical difficulties. We got the chat up and going, so thank you for that. Just a reminder, we'll share the recording after this so that you can all rewatch this or share it with your team if there's anything valuable, so that you have it. So that will come after. And we can dive right in. Jennifer, I know we were kind of already chatting, but
Yep.
if you want to intro who you are, what you
Sure.
do, kick us off.
So So my name is Jennifer Dale. I'm Vice President of Recruiting for Gray Television. Gray, I always say that we might be the largest company you've never heard of. We own television stations and digital properties in 113 markets nationwide. We own streaming networks, investigative networks. We own Gray Digital Media, which is a digital marketing company. But you may not know who we are, even though people are really starting to. Because we rely so heavily on the power of our individual brands. Like since we own so many, we own the most number one and number two television stations in the nation. So many times people won't know who Gray owns, but if you live in Charleston, which is where I live, you certainly know who Live 5 News is. If you live in Alabama, you certainly know who WBRC or WSFA are. And so you could go on and on like we're in 38 states. Chances are that unless you live in California, there's a there's a Gray station not too far from you. That's kind of who I am. I will tell you up front, I'm not a recruiter. I'm not a career recruiter. I've become one, but I'm a journalist. I'm a news director. I believe in the power of spreading the message and helping people, whether it is through journalism and shining a light on what should or shouldn't be done. And honestly, those tactics really go naturally into recruitment marketing because we're all spreading, we're all just telling our story.
Yeah, it's totally true. I feel like I didn't go to school or wake up one day and think I'm going to be a CSM, but when you think of where your strengths lie, it seems like we're both people. So we'll go a
Same.
lot of different directions with that. Well, thank you for the intro. I kind of skipped my own intro. If you've been joining these before, obviously you've seen me. So I'm excited for you to be able to hear Jennifer talk today instead of me. But I'm a senior client success manager here at CareerArc. I'm also a certified employer brand strategist. I will be hosting. I think Jennifer and we flow really well. So we may get off track. We may, go over time, but I think Jennifer has a lot of valuable insight to share with you all. So I do have some questions to keep us on track that I will reference, but I mostly just want you all to enjoy what Jennifer has to say, and hopefully you'll learn something. So
Here's hoping.
so we can dive right in. But I'll start off with asking you, Jennifer, before we really go into the tactics that led to Gray TV's growth, can we talk about where Gray TV started and what recruitment challenges you were facing and where you are now?
So Gray is, it's been around a while. I always tell people I wasn't hired by Gray, I was acquired. We've been in a period of rapid growth Gray has really for the last 10 years. I came into Gray about 4 or 5 years ago, whenever they purchased Raycom Media, which was the television station I was working for at the time. So over the years, and the way our industry has changed, there's been so much consolidation that and you have to in order to be able to negotiate the deals and everything with our industry. But so really the changes for us started kind of after, or at least where I can update you from, was from after the Raycom acquisition and then moving into COVID. COVID changed everything from the way that people consume their content. Shoot, what we're doing right now, this would have been much more complicated to do. And I come from a television background, even 5 years ago. So, but we found ourselves after COVID at the height of the Great Resignation with a ton of open positions. And we really had to, like, at that time, I was still a journalist, a news director at Live 5 in Charleston, and I found myself with a staff of 45 people and 11 openings, which is a significant amount when your job is to keep the news on the air and make sure you're serving your community. And I started on the local level thinking, okay, this has to change, because in the past I had been, all right, Charleston's a pretty desirable place to live. Like but the candidates, at least not the candidates that I wanted, they weren't coming to me anymore. So I had to start thinking to myself, what am I going to do differently on the local level? And, again, I go back to, we're all in the business of connections, right? I don't know the specific jobs of everybody on here, but chances are it's our job to tell our brand story. And so my thought was, well, what do I do? Well, it's not that different from working in news. I work my sources. Good stories don't come to me. I go find them. And so I was like, okay, so where do I start? Well, I should probably start with where I've had success in the past. So, I started with every college that I knew. I started marketing just on a little bit of a local level on LinkedIn with our openings, and just really started maybe visiting a college that I hadn't been to, like University of South Carolina, because I mean, those kids, a lot of them live in Charleston. Like, how do I do this? And we managed, and we changed the way that we sold ourselves as a television station and what the benefits of the jobs were, because no one gets into what we do because of the money. They get into it because they're passionate about changing the world. So we really started kind of marketing what those benefits are, the emotional benefits of helping. And again, thinking back 21, we'd just gone through everything with George Floyd. There were so many people who wanted to make sure that they were being a voice that for someone who doesn't have one. So we really marketed that aspect of what we do. And we were really successful at it. At the time, the rest of our stations were still having, you know, at a company, we had 10,000 employees. So I want to say at one point we had 1,300 openings. I don't know what's normal for other industries, but man, it sucked to be us. So, I mean, like, cause that was hard, like trying to work through it. But here, we were sitting pretty, because we kind of changed our strategy. And, so it raised a bit of eyebrows, and I got a call one day from, um, from Sandy Breland. She's our COO now, but at the time she was one of our SVPs, and she just wanted to know what we were doing. And it was a bad day. Like, I was exhausted. Like, there was stuff going wrong. Like,
Oh,
and sometimes you're afraid you're just way too honest. Well, I was really honest about what I saw as the challenges of, and what was working, what was keeping me from being able to do my job when it came to recruiting. And we
yeah.
had, I was spending 5 hours a day at that point recruiting, and which means I wasn't doing my job as a journalist. I wasn't serving my employees. I wasn't, and there had to be a better way. And I didn't think too much. Like, we talked for 45 minutes and I followed up with an email, and then I just prayed I didn't get fired. Um, Luckily I didn't. And a couple of months later, we had won a big a journalism award, and his company, she's like, well, why don't we go to lunch? I'm like, that's nice. She's taking me to lunch because we won this nice award. And that wasn't why we were at lunch. And so they offered me a job doing this for the company. So that's kind of where we were. And it was just a blank slate, but I operate best whenever I have a blank slate and I can like, okay, so this is what I think we should try, and be creative. So that was probably a long way from where we were to where we are now, which is super exciting. Now we don't have 1,400 openings. We've added, in fact, we're expanding. We added 600 employees last year, and we're adding another 600, well, yeah, at least another 572 this year. So we're excited about that. We're excited about that, recruiting is still, like, recruiting the best employees is hard, but let's just be real. Anything worth doing is usually hard. So there we go. That's, we're a much better place now than we were 2 years ago. And man, I'm having fun.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you for sharing. It kind of sounds like some key takeaways here really are for you to not be afraid to fail. If anyone here is listening,
Yes.
and if you don't have a position on your team, it's possible that you could create it. You could be the one to make that change, to make your employer brand stand out, to present to stakeholders and leadership some new ideas that just might work and hopefully
Well,
not get you fired.
yeah, hopefully not. I mean, that's one of the things I do love about our company is, they want ideas. They say if we're going to do them, not everything we do is going to work, but if we're going to fail, let's fail fast so we can move on to what does work. And we've tried some outside of the box stuff in the last couple of years, and some of it has worked like a champ. I mean, we created basically our own database. Like I noticed myself, and you have to be very specific about the positions that you do, but I noticed myself, I was looking on YouTube for reporters. And so I would like troll and I wouldn't know anything about them. And every news director in the company was doing the exact same thing. So we have a developer and we built out what we call the gray talent pool, which allows an employee to upload their resume. They upload their reel if it's a position where they have a reel or portfolio, if they're a graphic artist or whatever it is we're looking for. If it's sales, it's just a resume. And they can list, because we're so large and we have 113 markets in 38 states, they can list every market that they're interested in working in. Like, let's say I'm from Alabama and I'm interested in working in Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile, Dothan, or Columbus, Georgia. I can list all of that. And I can say, I want to work as a account executive in any of those markets. Well, it comes to me, I go through and make sure that everything's nice and clean and shiny, or a member of my team. I'm using what I call the royal we. Um, and then we push it out to our hiring managers. And if they need a sales account executives, they can say, I need an account executive who wants to work in Charleston, who wants to move in September. And they get a list of profiles that they can then reach out to. It doesn't replace a typical application. Like we still have that, but it's another source. So when the people aren't coming to you, we have somewhere else to go get them. And we drive a lot of our recruiting efforts toward the gray talent pool. We've hired at least one person a day just from the gray talent pool in 2023. And I haven't looked, probably if I'd had my act together more, maybe I would have been able to give you that number for this year, but it was 378 in 2023.
Wow. I love the idea of a talent pool. I think if anyone has the resources to have one of those, I mean, it's really just like a lead generator. It's a great place
Yep.
to put everybody's information in, and like you said, go pull from it and reach out, and they might just be the next fit for what you're looking for.
And you can
Um,
time it out. Like we deal with a lot of contract employees. I don't know if other
mm,
industries do, but we know the end of their contract is going to be, let's say, in April of 2025. Well, they can put their availability date as April of 2025. And I, as an employee, can go like, all right, like they're from here. I really like them. Like, let's go ahead and get that conversation started. Let's get to know each other, because you can't help somebody you don't know. And people are like, happy people work harder. So if we can know what their goals are and we can know how to help them, then we
yeah.
can figure out how to make that work. Like, again, that works really well for contract employees. We use it for sales. We use it for engineering. Really don't have as many, like we don't have near as many engineering folks in there as I would like. But sales, and we use it for our marketing departments because we have an agency. Like we own one of the largest digital agencies in the nation. And then we also own, we have agencies in place in every one of in our markets that build out stuff for our clients. I mean, we're a journalism company and we're an advertising company. So we have a lot of advantages that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're using them to your advantage, so that's good. A
And
talent
it's
pool,
cheaper too to do it ourselves. So then there's that.
yeah. Well, talent pool is one of your tactics.
Yep.
Can you tell us about some of the other tactics you're using?
Okay, so yeah, so we use a bunch of different things. I mean, we have, that's one arm. If you think of it like a wheel, one spoke in the wheel is the talent pool. Another spoke in the wheel is Gray Digital Media. So Gray Digital Media is our digital agency that places ads, and we actually run recruitment campaigns for other companies. I thought it was a little crazy when I started here that I was like, okay, wait. What do you mean we're not running our own recruitment campaign through Gray Digital Media? So we started that last year as well. And what they do, they'll slice and dice. Like right now, I'm focusing on sales folks. And we'll kind of give them the behavior and what we're looking for in a sales rep. And they will like use different behaviors online. They could really be more specific than I can to identify those candidates and get them to our jobs. We actually send them to a landing page because we can get a lot of their data, like where they're coming from and where they're going, before we send them to apply for jobs with us. If you want to see what that looks like, the website is sales.grayishiring.com. That's our sales recruited website. Has a lot of videos about who we are, like kind of really, you know, making it look cool, right? I mean, let's just be real. The 6 o'clock news doesn't look really cool to a lot of people anymore. It comes across as old. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people who still want to change the world. And then we also have to support that through sales. So we do that with Gray Digital Media. That's one of our tools is they run. But we do recruitment campaigns, I think I know for Pepsi, and I got to look for one other, but I mean, like there's a bunch of them. Those are two they sent me as an example, but if you want to see ours, yep, there's the link. And then another thing that we do is, especially when it comes to young people, I don't know what you guys are seeing, but we need to make sure that we are preparing the next generation to take over the jobs that we have one day. So we do a lot of in-person recruiting. Like, for example, I'm at the University of Colorado right now. When I finish up with this, I'll walk next door back to some of the classes and we'll kind of talk with them and kind of meet and learn what their goals are. I'm recruiting journalism today. But 2 weeks ago, I was recruiting sales at Michigan State. Not a huge fan of job fairs because honestly, I'm there sitting at a booth with everybody and I don't like to compete with everybody. I like to have everyone to myself. So we'll fly out here. We'll spend a couple of days on campus talking with the professors, talking with the students about what their goals are and seeing how those goals match up with us. We'll identify students as young as freshmen and sophomores and work with them, hire them for internships in our company. We hired 450 interns last year. Paid interns, we don't do unpaid internships because we do not want to be in the business of the affluent. It's already close enough to that with what we do in news, on the news side. But, so we'll hire interns, they're paid employees, so we'll treat them as entry-level employees for 10 weeks. They'll go back to school, finish up their college, and then when they graduate, we'll hire them. And we hire 26% of our interns into full-time employees into our hardest to fill entry-level jobs. So
I love
that's a
that stat.
hugely successful for us. And we do it in every market that we have, every position. We have a very we're rolling out this year a really in-depth sales internship using our training team. I think we have, I think we're doing it. We're using 10 beta test stations for this on sales. I mean, we'll take them in other places, but this time we're really strong into the curriculum with these particular stations and these particular students, making sure that we're mentoring them, making sure that we're doing everything we can to help them grow. Good thing about is once you're into Gray, you can move up fairly quickly through our first consideration policy, which is if you are already every Gray employee gets first shot at every open job in Gray. So it really sucks if you're trying to get in here at a higher level, but it's really, but if you get in, it's great for our employees. And I think I've not looked at, I don't remember the transfer numbers for 2023 off our head, but I know we transferred more than 300 in 22, which also seems super low to me. So I need to check that out. But anyway, so that's kind of
employee retention.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to think too, like what we do is so hard and so stressful, especially on the journalism side. You're seeing people on the worst day of their life. You are seeing people who, I mean, you're seeing the worst, very much like a first responder. So retention of a journalist is very, very hard because sometimes they just need a break. I mean, we have all sorts of mental health stuff to try to, and things that we do to help process that. But it's really hard. I mean, it's hard to ask someone to stay in a job for a complete career unless they move into like an on-air anchor role. Because I mean, I was 24 years old, living on the Gulf Coast when Katrina hit. So now you know how old I am. And if you know when Katrina hit, and like you're seeing things, like I was not prepared for that. So I mean, retention is so we see a lot more rollover on the journalism side than anywhere else, just because you're seeing so many rough things. And people are
Yeah.
mean to journalists these days. But, but again, but a lot of our employees, especially our corporate employees, started their careers in these entry level jobs and have grown to be way up in our company. Shoot, every single person on my team, and we're small though. I mean, I don't hire career recruiters. Whenever I have a recruiting opening, I always get flooded with hundreds of candidates of people who want to come recruit for us. But in reality, I like to hire people who have done the job and can explain it. I found that there's more success with that. Sorry, career recruiters, if you're on this call, it doesn't mean I don't think you have value. It just means that I'm we're different. Like we're selling what we do every day on the ground, talking about it, helping people with it. Um, so I talked about, let's see, I think I hit everything that we're doing. I mean, we do have a pretty big marketing campaign too outside of Gray Digital Media. Um, if you follow us on, like we use the power of our brands to spread that message. I think last time I checked, we heavily use CareerArc to push out our branding messages and our jobs. I think we have about 80 different um, campaigns going different. I always feel kind of bad when I'm like, all right, so we need to open up a new campaign, and it'd be like, with who? I'm like, everybody.
Yeah.
And you're adding in like 100 and something profiles, but those have been so like that has been big for us. And again, we have seen in the past 2 years. I mean, our applications from when we first started doing that and we changed and we kind of changed our strategy, like we're more than double. Our applications are more than double in our company. And I just pulled like February's applications. We're up month to month and year over year. I don't know if that's a term that you guys use on this, but that's how we talk about ratings in television. If you're up month to month and year over year, you're
Yeah.
doing good.
Yep. I
So
look at those stats too with my other clients for
yeah.
sure.
So
Um,
I mean, so that's been a game changer for us. And again, but this is also if you think about how we also do, we share news. Like we're sharing our news and the stories we want people to click on social media. The only difference is I'm sharing the stories of our company now
exactly.
on social media.
Yeah. Well, I think I can summarize this for anybody who might not totally know what like a campaign is, for example. I think it's good for us to kind of pause and talk about that. What Jennifer was referring to is obviously a lot of different marketing campaigns, but also when she was talking about us, I'll just kind of plug us
Yeah.
here for a second. What you're able to do with us or without us is make sure you have a presence on social media that's consistent about your brand for people to find, candidates to find if and when they're researching you, if and when they're scrolling on social media. So Jennifer did a great job explaining their Gray Digital Media Agency. That's kind of a paid strategy. And then you have your organic strategy, which can be sharing your brand, sharing your story on social media. So everything that Jennifer has talked about today is going to influence an active or a passive candidate to apply, whether it's today or tomorrow or a year from now. They're going to consistently absorb the information, the story that you're telling them, selling them, excuse me. So I think it's great what you're doing. You stand out to me. That's why I reached out to you to join me today. Um, I know you're doing a lot of a lot in your strategy. So I just wanted to kind of summarize that for everybody.
We always
That
have a lot going on.
yeah,
Always. I
you
mean,
don't just do just one.
and it's really not. I mean, I think the consistency is the key. Like with organic, you have to target what makes people feel. Like when I think about, we'll talk about LinkedIn in particular because Facebook is a different beast, Twitter is a different, oh, X is a different beast. But LinkedIn in particular, my thought process is that if I'm on LinkedIn and I'm a hiring manager for this company, why do people follow me? Probably because they're interested in working in my market. So,
Yeah.
I mean, really identifying who the people are, not only using your company's profile, because if someone's following your company, they're interested in what you're selling for some reason, but
Mhm.
identifying who those people are in your company who also have a following, and with what we do, like that comes naturally for us. as a journalism company, as an advertising company, that comes naturally that people would want to follow us for that. But I mean, it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, there's some companies and some people that I just love to follow on social media because I think what they're doing is interesting.
Exactly. Where's
Like
the
it doesn't
value?
affect, like, for example, I'm in Colorado now. There's a couple of people that I follow who are journalists in Colorado. What they put on their social media does not affect me at all. Like I'm out here visiting today, so I guess it would today. And I will be watching Super Tuesday coverage tonight because I am a journalist. But but what they like, they're just interesting. So you also have to tap into those people in your organization and, and see what they're doing. I mean, and if you've got like ours, I love it when someone from our company is like, gosh, I can't find anybody for this position. I'm like so tired of this. I'm like, oh, really? Like, what are we doing to, what are we doing to market your jobs? Okay. So you've got, you're getting your jobs posted to your profile, right? Well, no, I don't really use LinkedIn. I'm like, I don't care. You don't have to. I'll do it for you. you know?
Yes.
And so like, well, what are you doing to help yourself?
Hmm.
Think about that. Think about, we're actually saving a ton of money taking our stuff going in-house this year versus paying outside marketing. I think we outside of CareerArc, we pay for like an Indeed database and the LinkedIn recruiter tool. Like we don't do, the sponsor job post or anything really anymore. So, I mean, just think about how you're spending the money you have, because I mean, that was really the game changer for us. And then just be excited. Like if you're not excited about what you're doing, like why would the person you're trying to hire be? Like if
Hmm.
you don't believe in it, and like this is easy. This is an easy sell for me because I believe so wholeheartedly in the power of what we do. And I think I've probably said it to Natalie tomorrow. If I get canned tomorrow, I'm not going to go for another company and be a marketer. I'm going to go back to being a journalist. But I do this because I'm passionate about helping our journalists and helping our company, and not just again on the news side, because so much of what we do is sales. Helping businesses grow. I'm responsible for recruiting sales account executives, which is complete other side of the building from what I come from. But at the end of the day, we all have the same goal, which is to help people, which is to help our clients, help our businesses grow, help our viewers.
I love that. And I think if anyone else here today is listening and any of that resonates with you, I think that you have a story to tell. You are your own brand. You as yourself sharing those stories, that can be a social media post that can influence candidates to want to work at your company if you have something to say like Jennifer. So if that's
And
a
it
takeaway that you can have from today, it's just get on your phone, record yourself talking like Jennifer just did and post it and say, this is why I like
Yep.
working where I work.
And it doesn't have to be expensive either. Like before we really when we were just playing with it, I mean, let's just be real. It was me and a Canva account,
Mhm.
and CareerArc, just thinking like, I wonder what will happen if we do this.
The name of your
And
memoir, me and a
huh?
Canva. The name of
Yep.
your memoir,
There we
me and a
go.
Canva account.
I was kind of leaning toward Journey to the Path of Totality due from my experience with the last eclipse, but maybe that could be the sequel.
Yeah,
Um, sorry guys, off track.
we told you this might
Uh,
happen.
yeah. So, I mean, it's, but again, it doesn't have to be big. Just see what works, see what resonates. We've really moved into a world to live event coverage, which is crazy considering I've never like ever, at least I haven't in a long time. I haven't been one that has been wanted to speak. I never saw public speaking as something that would be something for me, despite the fact I work in television. I enjoyed more being the person behind the scenes deciding what goes on television. But, we've connected. You've got some expertise, my guess, that people want to know. I mean, I don't know who all's on here and what your business is, but one of the most powerful things that we did, and it was with the rise of Zoom, in early in Charleston, is we held a Zoom with like 4 doctors to kind of talk about COVID. And we had so many people logging in and just desperate for information that we were in a unique space to give them. I don't know what your business is, but chances are, if your business is in any way successful, you're selling something that someone needs, whether it's information, whether it's like a product, like whatever it is. Figure out who those people are and connect with them. I mean, we'll end up with, 300, 400 people on a webinar from we just talk about what different jobs are in television. We did a story pitching clinic just to help reporters find better stories, and we had hundreds of people sign up for that. They're out there. You have something that they want. If you're in some capacity, just figure out how to deliver it and just be real. That's what I think it is. Being real and just
Authenticity.
caring. Yeah, just caring about people. Um, Honestly, I feel like that's a bit of our superpower.
It goes a long way. It does. It shines through in your messaging and all different tactics that you're using, I think. You kind of made me curious to know what industry everybody is a part of today.
Yeah.
So feel free to drop that in the chat, and then we can kind of refer to it more throughout our conversation. But I'll kind of move us along. We talked about what has worked for you, but of course, I think it would be great to hear a little bit about what like tactics you tried that didn't work and a little bit of why. I mean, was
Hmm.
it Career Builder, LinkedIn job listings? Like, I think we've talked about some of
Um,
those things in the
yeah,
past.
I'm not a huge fan of anyone who takes my marketing and my ability from me. Like if I need to be able to see the results. That's one of the reasons I do like gray digital media is one, like we're all serving the same master, we serve at the pleasure of our bosses. And so I mean I can see a dashboard of exactly who's clicking on my stuff, where they're coming from, all of those things. And like I don't feel like the shotgun approach works. I don't feel like, especially when it comes to, I don't know how it is in you guys' industry, but in ours, like we're looking for a very specific type of employee. We're looking, if it's on the journalism side, someone who just has that fire in them. If it's on the sales side, someone who is so determined to succeed. This isn't, none of these jobs are easy. So I think anything that casts a wide net has netted us not good results. I'm a big fan of like anything that allows me data. Anything that allows me to go in and see like who I can target with my message. I'm not a huge fan of, hey, Jennifer, we got you 600 people hired last year. And I'm like, okay, who are they? We can't tell you. That's private. I'm sorry. I'm a journalist. I've worked with a lot of politicians. Usually, if they can't give me specifics, they don't know.
True. So, I mean, we don't have to talk about everything that doesn't work because it's kind of more fun
Yeah.
to talk about what it
Yeah.
does work for you. Especially for the sake of time, because you and I are chatty. I will move us on to the next question. But before
Okay.
I do, I'll kind of share some of the industries people are sharing. We have a lot of
Yeah.
hospitality, healthcare, beauty, transportation, gaming. So those are some.
Gaming. Hey, we're into e-gaming. We have actually own an e-gaming team.
Yeah, seriously, Gray has their hands in everything.
Yeah.
Throw a rock, you'll hit Gray. TV.
We well diversified for the future is what we like to think.
Yeah. Well, everyone, just because certain things might not work for Gray TV, it doesn't mean they won't work for
Yeah,
you. So
absolutely.
trial and error. Don't give up just because something's not immediately working. Look at your data, ask reps or the organizations, the vendors you're working with. Sometimes they have data maybe you can't see, ask for that, figure out why it's not working, and then maybe there's some, changes you can make to get it to work. Organic social media, that's one of the long-term strategies that not a lot of people understand how to make work because of that reason. There isn't always data saying social media works for me because I got
You
99
have to
hires. I mean, you don't know.
you have to tap into the feeling. I think that's the key to social is you've got to tap into the feeling behind whatever you're doing.
I like that.
Um, and I think if you can do that, like if you can make someone, like you just got to make people care. Like that was that, whenever I used to write the news, it'd be like I knew I was at home. I knew that they were busy moms. I knew that they were, like doing the dishes and helping the kids with homework. I knew they weren't paying attention to me. But I wanted the power of my words to make someone stop and go, hold up, I want to listen to this,
That's
and I
really
think that's
cool.
what you have to do. You have to stop the scroll.
Mhm.
And some things do it better than others, but what makes your company cool? Like when I got into Gray, I was completely floored with the fact that we didn't advertise the fact that we had so many wonderful benefits. We have free health care, we have paid parental leave, you know, we have the first consideration policy. 96% of our upper management moved up within Gray. Like, that's a great reason to come to work for our company that we weren't selling. And to this day, probably the most popular thing I have ever posted was about the fact that our was that 96% of our upper management started their careers and moved up within Gray. So, I mean, like, just you'll see what works. Like, it's not all about the likes, but you'll just see what connects with people, and then you can go from there.
Yeah, I like that you pointed that out, especially with the candidate journey. A lot of clients will ask me, how many people liked or commented or shared this post? But I remind them that that's not really the metric that you should be measuring success of social recruiting by, because the candidate might not like, comment, or share on the post, but they're certainly maybe going to go click on it or go find your
Hmm.
jobs directly on your website. So it's just content for them to absorb, to see. It's kind
And
of like a
how
billboard, is how we
Yeah,
explain it.
and how excited is your employees about working there? Like, that's one of the things that have been really successful for us is, um, you know, is everyone happy? No. Like, I was, no one, some days I always joke, it's like, listen, like, some days you're not going to come to work. You just want to stay home and watch Netflix and eat Cheetos. That's normal. But you shouldn't want to not come to work because you feel like it's eating your soul, like, so, I mean, tap into those employees that are passionate about what you do, and have, like, I had an employee yesterday. It was so nice, on someone that had contacted me, and I'd sent her resume to our station, and she's like, "What's your address? I want to send you a gift card." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. It's literally my job. So don't do that." I said, "But if
Oh,
you really just want to help," I said, "just share our job post. Like,
yeah,
just, tell people about what you just said to me, that how thankful you were and how much you love your new job and how happy you are to be here. Share that. Share
yeah.
that and let people know." I said, because that's the most powerful thing that we can do. I think the most popular thing that I did last week is one of our interns, who interned at one of our stations, she got a full-time job. And so she put, like, the announcement on LinkedIn. I'm excited to say that I've taken this. And I shared that Sarah was one of the 450 interns that we hired in Gray last year. 26% have been, we're converting to full time, and if you're interested in being like Sarah, like, do this, I mean, and, like, there was a connection there with people who felt something. So just tap into what people feel. And I think you'll be okay. I mean, I don't know, y'all. I know television. So
No, I think it's important. Everyone has that. Everyone has existing employees.
Mhm.
Most people are on social media. Put them together. Is anybody willing to represent your brand and share
And
their
you know,
story
And
directly?
honestly, if you want to identify them, we have a Facebook group for our company. And that people just post, like, I don't know, silly pictures, what they're doing. Anytime someone has a job anniversary, you can quickly identify who's passionate about your industry through that. Well, maybe that's where you start to help them spread your brand message. Like, and half the time we don't even ask. Like, I asked this young lady to do it because I didn't want her to send me a gift card. But, like, but generally we have so many people who just want to do it on their own. And I pointed out, like, our SVPs are even into it. Like, every time someone posts a job, I laugh that if you sign up for this, if you sign up for this campaign, so and so will like your post. Because I'm like, how do you just sit there all day and like everything, Colin? Um,
Right? That's really sweet. I mean, that's
so
perfect segue into the other question I wanted to ask you about, which is, can you tell everyone a little bit about what social media channels are you on?
so for recruiting specifically, we use LinkedIn, we use Twitter, we have we do have Facebook, we do, oh gosh, let's see, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I think I'm missing one. We do have Instagram too. They get kind of dicey if you try to post your job. Sometimes you'll end up in some sort of jail. Facebook jail. We ended up in Facebook jail because the first time we did it, we hooked up our jobs to it. And I don't think, like, I'm guessing Facebook wanted to be paid for that. Um, so that didn't work, but so we're on all of them. We also, a new product that we've added this year that we really like is StreamYard, which is how we do our live events. And so what I love about StreamYard is we could record something like this. And it has like nice supers with, names, and it pops up, like, and pop up all the different things. It has nice boxes. It looks like a nice mixed feed. Um, and then, like, for example, if you go to grayishiring.com, you'll see, like, we can set up an event for March 28th. I think that's the next one, is March 28th, March 29th. It's about producing. We recorded that a couple of months ago. So we'll use CareerArc campaign to promote it for people to sign up. So when they sign up, I get their data so I can follow up with them to hire them. And then it takes absolutely no work for that to schedule to play out. Like, I'll sit in the chat at home and answer any questions that come up. But, so StreamYard is another new one for us
Oh,
this
cool.
year. Yeah, we want to get in,
StreamYard.
like, so we're looking at starting to, there's just more things I want to do than I have time to do them. But the big ones right now, getting our jobs posted to LinkedIn and Twitter. We've noticed that Twitter actually gets a lot more interaction with the analytics than LinkedIn does. But LinkedIn seems to target, like, I'm a big fan of LinkedIn and the people we can reach through the power of our pages. Um, that to me is our sweet spot with LinkedIn, with Twitter. Facebook, not so big. Like, we could use, like, we have really powerful brands on Facebook, but we found when we've posted our jobs to our big brands, we're running a bit over. There's a shocker. I can talk to a post. Um,
That's okay.
but
No.
but I mean, we found, like, with Facebook, sometimes it's just not worth it for that audience. They love like, the audience on Facebook, they're there for the news, not there to, like, they're probably not qualified to work for us. So we found we have separate pages for that.
Yeah, and everything has a different intention. So I
Mhm.
often tell people that if you're getting a lot of clicks or a lot of activity on Twitter, sounds like that could be a great for filling your top of funnel. And then
Mhm.
maybe you're finding on LinkedIn that maybe you have fewer clicks, but there's more conversion from those ones if you're reaching a more targeted
Yeah.
audience, depending
Oh,
on your
YouTube.
open
I forgot
goals.
YouTube. We also do,
Yeah.
we also have YouTube with videos. And again, being a video company, we have a marketing department that creates all of that stuff. So I mean, we have that. I also come from that background, so I do some very low level editing. So if you look on our LinkedIn page, and the stuff that looks really, really good, that came from the Gray Marketing Group. The stuff that looks like I probably did it.
But still, candidates don't know if it's talking about your brand, they're probably just excited to learn more about you. So
Mhm.
it's still
They
better than
do.
nothing.
Yeah, I
Better
mean,
than
it's
nothing.
just a little bit of all these different places. And what I love about StreamYard is I can send everything there at once, video wise. And then and again, we use CareerArc um to push out jobs, and do, like, we do some videos with you guys
Yeah. I
too.
think
So
video would be a great thing to talk about too. I'm passionate
mhm.
about video because statistics prove that video performs better on social
Yep.
media. Not everyone has the resources to, outsource and get the hey, what should they
Some,
do?
yeah, but we all have these days. Like, half the news we shoot comes on that. I mean, the videos that you do see on our page, like, we do a lot of thank you visits for colleges. We shoot those on our phone, and we just have somebody else edit them. So yeah, video is a sweet spot. Don't get me wrong. If you're looking for help, Gray Digital Media would be more than happy to help you make your videos look fantastic. And I have, so there's that. Like, I'm lucky I get that at cost. But so I mean, the videos do work. Like, I'm super excited, and I played with them a bit. Like, I do, like, I created a video, and you can see it on our YouTube account, about just a specific job opening that we had in Charleston. Now, is that something I can do every day? No. Are we going to live in a world one day where AI can do that for us? Probably. And I know you guys are working on that too.
Yep, absolutely.
So
Um,
one day it's all going to work together, and it'll be my video and your AI, and it'll be magic.
right? And then they'll read my mind and just like pull
Yeah.
out
So, I
what
mean,
I'm thinking.
but yeah, video, I mean, it just performs so well. And for us, like, I think there's a lesson there in leveraging your, like what your company is good at. Like, like what that, like figure out how to leverage your company's unique resources for that. Like with us, again, it only makes sense that, I mean, we're again a video company. We have archives that go so far back we can't even get the video off of them because the machines don't work anymore, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
totally. I think we can almost kind of end on like zooming all the way out and kind of what we were just talking about. If people are lacking resources for anything, um, like how and where would you recommend people get started at all, even if it's not with video? What could they
like I
start
would just
looking at?
start. So the first thing that I did when I took this job, because I was working on a local level with a much smaller group of people, is just listen, get an idea about what we needed and what the struggles were. If you already know that, like we had, again, I think I talked to 113. No, we have 113 news directors. I talked to 90 of them in the first month about what they needed from me for recruitment for the company. And from that, that's where I started my strategy. Like there were certain things I was hearing everywhere. I don't have a place to go get candidates. They're not, the candidates aren't applying and I don't know where to go. I'm just going to YouTube and I don't even know anything about these people. And so I'm like, okay, well, I can handle that. Like, I mean, we're a small team. There's only 6 of us. So, I mean, so I'm like, okay, well, I can handle that. Somebody can search YouTube every day and let's just make a database of these people. And so like one thing will lead to another. So that's where I would start is just listening. If you haven't done it, if you're new to your job, listen. What are they struggling with? What do they need your help? And then putting together your plan from there. Like I knew that there were really cool things about our company that we weren't marketing. Okay, well, it makes sense to market those. How do you do that? Well, who do I get to make my graphics? Oh crap, there's no one. So like get a Canva account. Like be careful, make sure you have rights to everything. Like talk with your lawyers. We have lots of lawyers, so that was fairly easy. And being a journalist, I'm used to dealing with them. And I was like, okay, so I taught myself Canva. Did what I do look as good as what we're doing now? No. But my company saw the value in the fact that we were gaining so many new applications and so much extra work that they're like, okay. So they created someone who was better at it than me to make my graphics. That's why everything looks so nice now. Like I don't have to do that anymore. So I mean,
Find a
that's where,
need and build a solution.
yeah, and just figure out how to do it. And like it doesn't have to cost a fortune.
Yeah, I agree.
It just takes determination. You got to be more stubborn than the problems.
And ask for help. I think don't be afraid
Mhm.
to ask for help either.
Yeah, I
Shoot.
mean, ask others in the industry. Like, since I hadn't been, like, I'm not saying go ask someone your secrets, but ask someone who's done it. Like, how do you do this? I did that, like with other, even television groups. I'm like, how do y'all do this? Like, what does this mean? Like, what's a normal vacancy rate for you guys? And they were willing to share, and we've all learned a lot from each other.
I often ask my clients, is there a competitor of yours? And they're like, yeah, this person, this person, this person. And then I go look at their social media presence. That's my strength, obviously, is auditing
Mhm.
the recruitment marketing piece on social. But I usually will come back to them and say, okay, look, they're doing this, this, and this, and they could do this as well. But of course, I know time could be a constraint, but social media is free. So if you have a
Yep.
competitor, if you have a brand you admire, go scroll through their career site, go scroll through their social media pages, and you can take screenshots. Just kind of create your own like mood board, put it in Google Slides, keep it messy, and just be like, I like all of these ideas, and then make it your own. Put in your voice, your brand message, your values, the your EVP. Brand pillars I know is really important. Defining that, if that's not even defined, that could be another great place to start. Make sure that you are sharing with from the top down, or make sure you're asking your leaders, what are those pillars? What do we stand for? So we can attract people with similar values.
Yep. And if you have any questions about what we're doing, you can just email me. Like, I'm not one to hold in like information or ideas. I mean, literally, my whole job is to tell people things. So,
Yeah.
I mean, feel free if there's anyone who has a question about what we're doing.
Yeah, thank you. We're jumping into the Q&A next. We'll do that real quick. And Callum and Christina in the background, they're going to copy and paste all of our LinkedIn profiles into the chat so you can all connect with us. Jennifer's will be there. Gray TV's, their company one will be there. I will be there. CareerArcs will be there. So please connect with all of us. We'll share updates on upcoming sessions. Gray and Jennifer will continue pushing out great content for you to be influenced by, inspired by. And then, of course, I'll share a lot of exciting things that my other clients are doing in various industries. So don't be shy. Give us a connection request. And then some other reminders is that we'll share this recording for you. And then our next session is going to be with Kate McKinley at Lazy Dog. So if you're in the restaurant hospitality space, that may be a good one for you to join us with as well. So feel free to drop some questions in the chat and we can answer those. And of course, if you have to jump, we can send you the recording so you'll see the Q&A in that as well. And then Callum, please let me know if you see anything that I don't see, but I'll give it a minute so people can ask us some questions and put those in sometimes they come in the Q&A, sometimes they're in the chat. So bear with us. We'll make sure we're not missing anything. Okay, first question, Jennifer, this might be good for you. They say, I have trouble tracking the success with organic social. Are there any KPIs you focus on or tools you recommend?
It's hard with organic social. I pay attention to what's going out. Like, so for a lot of our organic social, we use CareerArc. So I use like you guys analytics with that. But sometimes like it's just hard to tell and see what's popular. It's not like with GDM where I have a dashboard where I can see who's clicking on what. So I don't have a really good answer for that. What is it, like the old Supreme Court definition of obscenity? I don't know. Like I may not be able to find exactly what it is, but I can tell you what's working.
Yeah, exactly. I know some people I've recommended check out a pulse survey if your company does those, and you can kind of see,
I
what's
mean,
keeping employees there.
we've used again, this is more for on the news side, and I guess you could probably use it for anything. Like we've used CrowdTangle, which is, I think it might be free. I'd have to check. I'll tell you what, if you want to shoot me an email after it's over, I'll be more than happy to get with our digital folks to see what we use to on the digital side, whereas we're pushing out content to our companies rather than just recruitment marketing, because let's just be real, we're all telling stories, and marketing and telling the story of your company is just another story. CrowdTangle was one that we've used in the past. I don't use it with recruitment, but like I get an email just about every day about like what the most popular posts, social posts are company wide for us.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. I saw another question asked if we could repeat the webinar name for restaurants and hospitality. I think you meant which one was upcoming with us. So that's going to be
Oh,
with Kate McKinley at Lazy Dog. And Callum can put some information in the chat and we'll send out information on that in an email to everybody as well. Okay, it looks like I only have one more question in here. Can you share more about the challenges you faced in creating your employer brand? How did you know you were heading in the right direction?
so we kind of knew who we were before. With Gray Television, we're a big company. We're a journalism company. Our job is every day is to serve our viewers. So those pillars are what we kind of decided. We want to help people. We want to help and be a service to our communities. So we knew that was that was just who we are, and then we want to serve our clients. So again, that was kind of where, like, going in, that was already established before I was in this role. I just picked out from that what I felt would resonate most with people who would be looking for jobs. So that's kind of how I did it. Like I remember very specifically going through our website, which is in the process of being redesigned because there's a lot of stuff going on there. And like I just picked through, like I would pick through everything that I felt like would make someone feel something out of who we are, on our who we are page. I mean, I'm not high enough up in the corporate chain that I am establishing the pillars of what we stand for as a company, but I know that I can look at what we have decided are those pillars, and figure out how to market them. Now, I was able to, I did do that on a local level with my television station. And the way we did that was looking at market research. What are people, what will make people, and I don't know if other industries are like that, but every one of our television stations have market research, what our viewers are looking for, what their struggles are, you know, where, who watches us currently, and what is the most, and where do we need to grow the most. And that's how I would choose if I was doing it on that level. Now, of course, I didn't do this for Gray because that was way up higher than me, but that's how I've done it locally. And then we'll put together a strategic plan, including a strategic marketing plan, in order to help us reach those goals that we're shooting at for the end of the year. I hope that made sense to non-TV people.
No, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for all your insight. We had one last question that came up earlier, but somebody asked you if you worked with Greg Conklin. That was
Oh,
nice.
yeah. So, okay, I don't know him because we're a lot of people, but I do know the name. So, yes, we are part of the same family.
That's awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I know we went over, but it's all really valuable information. So I wanted to make sure that we got it all in there for you. If you have any questions, connect with any of us on LinkedIn and we'll be sure to send this
Yeah,
recording to you
shoot
and
me shoot me
information.
an email. I would love to know you guys a bit. I don't know. Again, I spent my whole career in this industry, so it'd be kind of cool to know more about others.
I love that. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. See you at the
All
next
right.
one.
Thanks, everyone. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.